and welcome to Silverstone. You join me for the opening rounds of the 2011 Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. I'm Lloyd Bonson, and today we're going to be looking at the action from Class C. Now, I was able to speak to series organiser Kevin Shortis earlier on, and here's what he had to say about the future of the series. Kevin Shortis, let's have a chat about the growth in Ford Fiesta racing. It's a fantastic season we've got coming up this year in 2011. Talk us a little bit about it.
Well, we're very excited. Again, the Ford Fiesta Championship, sponsored by Competition Car Insurance and Dunlop, is proving to be another big hit. We've got some excellent circuits. Obviously, we're here at Silverstone today. We're visiting most of the big name circuits throughout the year, so very pleased. And we've got a good turnout of cars.
Now, looking at classes A and B, not so strong a turnout as we've seen previously. Is that because a lot of people are moving up to Class C?
Paradoxically, probably not. Yes, one or two have gone from last year's, perhaps the ex-carters, the young legs like Lee Napolitano and both the young Cockles have got ST cars this year, but we're finding that people that are coming into the championship would tend to look at perhaps the Z-Tech class and the SI class as a stepping stone to launch their sort of Fiesta ST career perhaps a year later. So there are still some in the wings waiting to come out, so I'm quite optimistic that we'll see that grid grow, and I don't have a big problem with that.
And of course, joining them later on this year is going to be Class D.
Yeah, Class D, the actual first Class D car has just had its roll cage fitted, being collected tomorrow to preparation, and we're hopeful it may be out at Snetterton. We're not sure at the moment.
Kevin, looking at the Class C grids, they're growing. This is a great season for Fiesta racing.
Yeah, well, of course, the Fiesta ST is now proving to be what we've always said it would do to live up to its name, in that it's a junior touring car, in inverting commas. We're finding the drivers are coming into the car. I have not, which is very, very unusual, I have not heard any driver that's gone into a Fiesta ST, come out of the ST, say he didn't like it. Every single driver who's been into the ST as a competitor or has been test driving it, we had Paul O'Neill test driving last year from the touring cars, proclaim the car an instant hit. Very pleased about that.
Good to hear from Kevin Shortis, who runs the championship. But the talking stops now because the car's coming out onto circuit for the first race of the year. Pole position, David Grady with Harry Cockle alongside, Lee Napolitano and Jason Cooper on row 2. Michael Bushell and Ed Cockle next up. Ashley Sutton and David Abbott. Then Nick Bowers and Matt Foley. Ian Wilson and Matt Parr on row 6. Then it's Nick Pope and Rex Knight. Ian Fletcher, James Byrne, Joanne Eason and Andrew Wilmot on row 9. Al Daly and Steve Patworth. Chris Tomazis, Terence Upton and Graham Field completing the runners. 23 cars, I can tell you. And this is just one class, remember, out of 3 in the Fiesta Championship. And there are quite a few championship coordinators up and down the country who, if they're looking at this, are going to be green with envy at the number of drivers that we've got. You heard Kevin say that this is, in inverted commas, a junior touring car championship. It is very much that, a training ground for the touring car drivers of tomorrow. Last year we had a sensational race in Class C. Whether it's going to be the same this year or not remains to be seen, because we've got a lot of new drivers in Class C, the STs, and away they go. And a great start then from pole position on the outside of the track. David Grady nips across the bows of Harry Cockle, who is in second position. And what a great sight they make as they go around the first turn. Everybody, I think, through safe and sound. Nobody going too far over the rumble strips. Everybody in very, very good order, right the way down to Graham Field. In 23rd, he'll be looking to cut his way up through the field as the race progresses. There is Jason Cooper in car number 35. There are so many drivers that people are tipping to take the championship honours. A couple of drivers hitting a little bit wide their rumble strips as they go through Beckett's corner for the first time, but the field sorting themselves out, and the race will start to settle itself down, and we'll tell you a little bit more about some of those fancied drivers for this year. But look at the jostling going on for position. There is Lee Napolitano just ahead of the number 3 car. That's David Abbott, the veteran of the series, running well. But this, as you can see, is Harry Cockle running in second position. Harry, one of the drivers moving up, was the Class B champion, the man from Heathfield, down there in Sussex, and chasing the pole position man David Grady at the moment. Harry Cockle's pedigree from last year was 11 wins, 12 fastest laps, 4 pole positions. So not a bad tally to bring with you into the STs, and he's had a great debut weekend, qualifying second. Lee Napolitano qualifying third. He's moved up as well, Napolitano, car number 24, if you keep an eye out for him. The number 4 car is Michael Bushell from Tunbridge Wells. Bouncy moment there for a couple of drivers again as they go around. Beckett's going just a little bit wide, carrying perhaps a little bit too much speed from Maggott's corner, but David Grady it is that set the 1 minute 9.282 pole position lap as we look at Jason Cooper trying to close down on Harry Cockle. Cooper, one of the fancy drivers for the championship this year, comes from Chippenham in Wiltshire, 22 years of age, and some of the markers going for a little bit of a Burton, and a couple of spinners there in the 5 car. I think we've got Joanne Eason, I think, has gone off, and Nick Pope in the blue and orange car. Joanne Eason in the 6 car, not the 5 car. Get my glasses sorted out. But through come the front end drivers with David Abbott, the 59-year-old from Godstone in Surrey, running very well. And this year, so many drivers in the championship, and we've really got a fairly, I won't say definite split, but we've got if you look at the ages of the drivers that are involved in the championship, we've got a lot of young drivers and a lot of drivers in more mature years. So a newly instigated item for this year is the Veterans Cup, which is for any driver who is 42 years of age as at the 1st of January. So the older guys, so that they're not totally put in the shade by the youngsters, if that's the case, do have their own class or cup to contest as well. As we look at car number 33, Matthew Parr, one of the youngsters coming up into racing, ex-Club Formula Ford driver, who is finding this budget probably stretching a little bit further for him. The red car is Ashley Sutton, car number 16, from Bishop Stortford, ex-Formula V driver, and just 17 years of age. So a lot of drivers now looking at making a career out of motorsport, possibly moving on to the British Touring Car Championship, and the Fiesta Championship has had graduates into that. As we look at Lee Napolitano coming under a bit of pressure there from Matt Parr. Now Matt Parr has made progress, and Napolitano's dropped back a shade from where he started. Through go the top 3 with Ed Cockle in 3rd position now, then Michael Bushell. There is Matt Parr looking up I thought he was going to look up the inside line there. You can see they're running in the WDE Motorsport cars, one of 2 very strong teams in the paddock, the other team being Daniels Motorsport, who are running some 13 drivers this weekend in classes A, B and C. WDE Motorsport running quite a lot of cars as well. Mike Bushell running with them, Joanne Eason running with WD, as is Ian Wilson and Lee Napolitano, amongst others. And some very good scrapping going on at the moment, with Ash Sutton looking pretty handy. As we said, ex-Formula V single-seater runner. And many drivers now making that switch a little bit earlier. As we look at Matt Foley, that's the blue car. He's the driver from Merthyr Tydfil in Wales, raced in the 750 Motor Club Stock Hatch Championship for a while, and has made the switch into STs. And as you can see, looking pretty sharp, dicing with Ashley Sutton. And with all these, I've got to say, very quick young drivers coming in, it's making the competition that much hotter. Through goes the number 4 car of Mike Bushell, then David Abbott, who is a good benchmark, and Ash Sutton looking up the inside. So the red car of Ash Sutton really getting in the mix, and we saw loads of door handling here last year at Silverstone, with Rory Fairbairns taking the race win, if memory serves correctly. And down the Wellington Straight they go once again. Matthew Foley having a very good run in the 82 car, qualified in 10th position, takes the wide line at Luffield. Ash Sutton can't quite get the better there of 33 Matt Parr. Matt Parr, who comes from Horsham in West Sussex. We're on board with someone we saw last year and the year before, Chris Tomazis, car number 9, comes from Islington in the Prage Performance Car Centre. And Chris busy looking at a very close battle in front of him. There's 68 car of Terence Upton and Al Daly, and he squeezes down the inside by the pit wall and goes through. Here's Graham Field, and Graham Field's view of what was happening. And Tomazas just losing out a little bit, and round the outside goes Graham Field. Look at this, Graham Field, he qualified 23rd, but he's not going to finish 23rd. He's really working his way past these cars. Terence Upton there in front of him, but back up on the inside, just squeezing through, is Chris Tomazas. So these drivers really having a super scrap. And this is down towards the lower reaches of the top 20. It doesn't matter where you are, there's someone to race with in this championship. Here we go on board with Chris again. Graham Field in the orange car, very much with him. Tomazas carries a little bit more speed around the outside. You can see how the run into Brooklands can work either way. It can work on the inside if you've got the legs on the braking, but if you've got a bit more momentum, you can bring that around the outside. So Terence Upton is the man in front at the moment. The black machine, the 68 car, Spectra Carpets Limited sponsored or entered car. Terence Upton, who comes from Bedford. Someone we saw do a lot of racing last year.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
There is the 35 car Jason Cooper, the 22-year-old from Chippenham, another very quick driver indeed, who's been fancied for this year's championship. Jason probably a little bit further down than we would have expected to see him. Qualified 4th on the grid, and at the moment, or running 3rd in the race. Now I've got to apologise here, haven't I, to car number 29, Ed Cocker. I said he was up into 3rd. I need to apologise to Jason Cooper, who comes into pit road. And, well, that may be a bit of a premonition on my part, because Ed Cockerill now comes through into 3rd position. So he was up to 4th from 6th on the grid, not 3rd. But Jason Cooper has come into pit lane. Now I'm wondering whether that is mechanical or whether maybe he jumped the start and he's had a drive-through from the clerk of the course. We'll try and get clarification on that for you as we look at Matt Parr, who continues on his way. So Matt Parr running well. Matt Foley is pretty near him as well. Here is the veteran driver David Abbott going through ahead of 33 Matt Parr. Then it's Matthew Foley, the youngster from Merthyr Tydfil, ex-Stock Hatch driver, as we said, the front wheel drive Stock Hatch Championship in the 750 Motor Club. So he'll be used to running in close company with decent fields that they have also in the 750 Motor Club Championship. Things settling down around about halfway through the race. And Jason Cooper, we're being told, is back on track, so it does seem to indicate to me perhaps a drive-through for him, because if it was a mechanical problem he would have had some reparations and maybe dropped back a lot further than where he is at the moment. So through goes Ed Cockerill in 3rd place. 4th position is Mike Bushell there. Then it's David Abbott running well, the veteran, followed by Ian Wilson in car number 10 goes through as well. Then a little bit of a gap back. Rex Nye there in car number 20, the black and red car, followed by Ian Fletcher in car number 44, the Nick Sanderson Racing prepared car. 26 is Steve Papworth in one of the higher cars, and we're on board with Steve now. So if you fancy trying your hand at this racing, there are high cars available. So come out, get your licence, come out and have some fun in the STs, or indeed Class A and B that we'll see in a separate programme as well. But what a lovely view we've got of Steve Papworth, the man from St Neots in the A1 Gearbox's Odell Motorsport entered car. And He's just trying to close up on the car in front, look in his mirrors just to see whether the driver behind, which I think is James Byrne in car number 19, is closing up. Nick Bowers in relatively close order as well, working hard as he goes through the Luffield part of the complex, onto Woodcote and then onto the main straight. So Ash Sutton running well, car number 16, and leading Ian Wilson in car number 10. Ian in one of the WDE Motorsport prepared cars. Ashley Sutton in 8th place, Ian Wilson in 9th position, and Matt Parr goes through. There is Ash Sutton still running strongly. Fastest lap of the race so far, David Grady set back on lap 4, 1 minute 9.533. Hasn't quite got close enough to his lap times, and are we going to have a change of position here? 33 and 82, 33 Matthew Parr, 82 is Matt Foley. Foley looking to the outside line there, switches back. He'll be hoping that the 33 car is going to drift wide, but the good driving from Matt Parr, who really hung on to the inside there. How much longer he's going to be able to hang on to that for, I don't know, but certainly Matt, the two Matts here could give us a grandstand Matt finish, couldn't they, by the end of the race? Let's see whether that does unfold, but down towards Copse they go. And at the moment, Foley really very much harrying. Then it's the Ash Sutton in 16, Ian Wilson, Lee Napolitano, and then a bit of a gap back before we get Rex Nye coming through. So there is Rex in red and black, followed by Ian Fletcher in car number 44. Good to chat to Ian before the race today, very much enjoying his racing. And a couple of cars down from them we go to car number 68, Terence Upton again, this lovely wide angle shot. Terence trying to chase down, I think it's Al Daly that's in front of him at the moment. Al running in 18th place, Terence in 19th position. Changes up a gear. Fastest part of the circuit here, Wellington Straight, renamed from the National Straight at the beginning of last year for the redesign of the circuit, which has been done so that we can keep the British Grand Prix here, and a massive new pit complex just aside from where we're racing today being completed by the BRDC at Silverstone. Absolutely superb looking facility, and great that we're going to keep the Grand Prix very much at its home here at Silverstone. These guys enjoying racing here. Race format for the championship is 2 races on race day and a qualifying day before, so that's normally the Saturday. 2 20-minute races for the cars as we look at James Byrne in car number 19. Oh, wide moment off the circuit there. Now if that happens too much, the Clarks will get interested in that, but at the moment I don't think there's any such problem. So Rex Knight still leading that little battle from Ian Fletcher. Then it's James Byrne in 19. Steve Papworth in 26 goes through as well. Graham Field, who has made up a few positions from 23rd on the grid, and Graham I think up into about 20th place at the moment. Up through the gears, a bit of glare on the visibility as they come down the straight. See how difficult it can be for the drivers with sun in your eyes, but Graham coping relatively well with it. Back to our battle between 33 Matt Parr and down behind him Ashley Sutton in red. That's the battle for 7th position. Through goes David Abbott, who is 5th. Then just ahead of them is Matt Foley, who's raced really well. Matt Foley, very impressive, up into 6th place from 10th on the grid. So we've seen a few drivers make some progress from their grid position, which is very heartening to see indeed. One driver who could only make progress in terms of pulling away from the rest of the field is David Grady, who has clear circuit in front of him. I don't know if he's going to get into... I don't think he's going to be anywhere near close enough to lap any of the other drivers, because the lap times are that competitive today that I don't think he's going to have time to lap anybody, even down to 23rd position. But across the line goes David Grady again. He's still got a reasonable gap out to Harry Cockle in 2nd position. There is the gap. There is Harry Cockle in 2nd. Ed Cockle running in 3rd place. And then we look back to 4th position, Mike Bushell. We'll look for Bushell. There he is, the white car with the green stripes on the top of the car. Then David Abbott, the long-term driver in this championship, doing very well in 5th place. 82, Matthew Foley. Then it's Ashley Sutton and Matt Parr enjoying their race. Ian Wilson and Lee Napolitano down behind them. Napolitano, of course, who I think joined the championship last year at Silverstone. So this is his second race, the second car race meeting at Silverstone. Did half a season last year. Very impressive. Was not off the podium at all last year, as far as I can remember. Or maybe it was at the end of the season. He certainly had 8 consecutive podium appearances, and it doesn't look like he's going to get a podium today, but the competition, of course, that much stiffer and sterner in this championship. As we look at Ash Sutton trying to make a move here on Matt Foley. 33, Matt Parr is busy chasing them, and let's see whether Parr can manage to nip up the inside line. Sutton's hanging on to it at the moment after his little moment off the circuit earlier on. Ashley Sutton qualified in 7th. It looks at the moment as if that's roughly where he's going to finish. So these guys very evenly matched in qualifying. That's carried through to the race. Mike Bushell still in 4th position. Those three very close indeed. Ian Wilson goes through in car number 10. Man from Kings Hill. And then this gap, which has pretty much stayed the same, back to Rex Nye, with Ian Fletcher in car number 44, the silver grey car with the yellow mirrors, looking through on the inside. James Byrne is there in 19, looks up the inside line. Down behind them is Nick Bowers, who's trying to make progress as well. But this is the view from the race leader, David Grady, who turns out of Woodcote, or out of Luffield, through Woodcote onto the pit straight once again, up into top gear. Clear circuit, exactly what he wants as he goes now onto the last lap of the race. 20-minute race is the order of the day. In actual fact, I think this one's going to be closer to 20 minutes. Depends very much on where the leader is when the clock runs out. But 20-minute races, so you can never actually tell how many races there are left. But David Grady has driven superbly. Fastest lap of the race, a 69.53. Harry Cockle close to that with a 69.59. But Harry will no doubt be trying to get closer as the season goes on. This is Harry's first race in the STs. David Grady, of course, with considerably more experience of the car, as he comes down the Wellington straight for the last time and will turn into Brooklands now. No pressure on him at all, so he can take the racing line that he wants. Now into Luffield, and he'll be thinking about that checkered flag and another win to add to his career tally and the championship lead, because it's going to be pole, fastest lap and race win for this man. David Grady then, the Unitech Motorsport entered car. David from Leicester is going to take the first honours of 2011 in the competition car insurance Ford Fiesta Championship, and the lights signal a superb win for him. Grady the winner from Harry Cockle, Ed Cockle in 3rd, Mike Bushell is 4th from David Abbott and Matthew Foley in 6th. Then it's Matthew Parr from Ashley Sutton and Ian Wilson. Lee Napolitano 10th from Rex Nye, and Ian Fletcher rounding off the top dozen. Steve Patworth next from James Byrne. Nick Bowers 15th from Jason Cooper. Chris Tomazza 17th from Al Daly. 19th Terence Upton from Graham Field. Then Andrew Wilmot, Joanne Eason and Nick Pope completing the runners.
Club and amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Joanne, a disappointing start for you in the series this year. What happened in the first race?
I got a good start. We was going round up the top, and Rex and I went off the corner, off the track, and took me off with the back wheel, and then took my front away, and I just spun and lost everybody then.
You seem to be making some time up when you got back on the track, but did the car feel okay? Was there any issues?
The car felt a bit unsteady and it was really noisy. I was losing a bit of power.
So have you found out if there's anything wrong, or what have you been able to do in preparation for the next race this afternoon?
I've got a new alloy wheel fitted. Guys have fitted all my damage and I'll be at the back.
But hopefully you'll make a good start and
Yes.
and get through the field.
I will do indeed.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe, and best of luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Here's the grid then. David Grady and Harry Cockle on row 1, Ed Cockle and Mike Bushell on row 2, David Abbott and Matt Foley next up. Then it's Matt Parr and Ashley Sutton, Ian Wilson and Lee Napolitano on row 5, Rex Nye and Ian Fletcher row 6, Steve Papworth and James Byrne, Nick Bowers and Jason Cooper, Chris Tomazis and Al Daly on row 9, Terence Upton and Graham Field, Andrew Wilmot, Joanne Easton and Nick Pope starts 23rd. The race grid then being based on the finishing positions from the first race of the day. And there is Nick Pope starting towards the back of the field. Very pleased to say no non-finishers in race 1. There is the green flag from the back of the field. And we're wondering whether David Grady will be able to do it again, starting on the outside of the front row. Lights on. Lights out, away they go. David Grady gets away well. It's Harry Cockle in second position. Ed Cockle looking to try and move into third. A little bit more of a scrabble for third position. Now, are they all going to get around Copse Corner safe and sound first time, as they did in race number 1? It does look as if they have done. So good stuff, and great start then for David Grady out front from Harry Cockle. Then it's Ed Cockle in third place, and around goes David Abbott in car number 3. A very strong performance from him in race number 1, and David Abbott gets turned around. He won't be best pleased about that, and look at the number of cars that thunder past David Abbott. He has got a lot of work to do. No doubt he will rejoin and try and climb his way through the order, but he's got an awful lot of work to do. Jason Cooper in 35 looking up the inside, starting some way back. James Byrne in the blue 19 car involved in the mix as well, and off goes the number 9 car, taking a little bit of a Chris Tomazis. We saw the onboard from him in race number 1, and look how much momentum he loses and how many cars passed him at the complex, but no problems at the front. That's why you need to qualify on pole position and get your head down and get your head away. Somebody kicking up some smoke. Now is that engine smoke or maybe bodywork stroke tyre smoke on the chasing car? Mike Bushell still running in 4th position from his start, so it's David Grady leading from Harry Cockle. Ed Cockle in 3rd place. Mike Bushell is in 4th position. Then a gap back. Ash Sutton about to put on a move there on the inside of one of his fellow competitors. Graham Field moving up the order. The orange cars made great progress in race 1 and looks like he's set to continue that in race 2. But Harry Cockle, the youngster from Heathfield in Sussex, trying to close down on the Leicestershire driver David Grady. We'll see whether this battle will develop today. Of course, they've got the rest of the season. We've got 8 weekends of Fiesta racing to look forward to in 2011. So the Cockle brothers certainly making an immediate impact in the STs, and I think we can predict that they'll be challenging for race wins in their own right as the season develops and as they get their heads around the car. There is Mike Bushell in car number 4, the man from Tunbridge Wells in Kent, running in 4th position at the moment. The quartet starting to get away from Matt Foley in car number 82. The blue car in 5th position, he's coming under a little bit of pressure too at the moment, so scrap on for 5th. Loads of scrapping going on further down the order as Bushell bumps his way over the curbs. Everybody else doing it as well, including Ash Sutton in the red 17 car. A couple of machines taking a slightly tighter line and maybe hoping to avoid a little bit of carnage. But top 4 reel off another lap. Down into the complex they go once again. Bushell, what can he do about Ed Cockle out front? These two, as far as I'm aware, haven't raced together before. I'm not sure if they have in karting. They certainly won't have done in car racing. Bushell, you can see with the newcomers' insignia on the back of the car in the WDE Motorsport prepared car. Top 4 getting away from the 5th place man, the Matt Foley machine, but through they go to complete another lap. Now lap times in this one, let's have a quick gander and see how they're doing. They were lapping in the 69s in race number 1, pretty much same again, pretty much as classes A and B were, a little bit slower in race 2. That may play into some drivers' hands, I guess. Here comes this battle for 5th position. Lee Napolitano in 24, very neatly done by Napolitano down the inside of Matt Foley, with Ash Sutton coming up to play as well. Very interesting for me to watch this race, and hopefully for you at home to see drivers like Lee Napolitano, karting star, really, you've got to say, man from Lingfield in Surrey, racing against Ash Sutton, fast driver in Formula Ford, Matt Foley, fast driver in Stock Hatch. So it's nice to see drivers from different disciplines. In some ways it makes this almost like a champion of champions type event, because you've got quick drivers from other disciplines all coming and racing together, and you don't quite know how it's going to pan out. Napolitano, one of the drivers that you heard at the start of the programme, has moved up from class A and B, and so he's got a bit of front wheel drive experience from last year, just half a season. Matt Foley with a little bit more front wheel drive experience from the Stock Hatch Championship, and Ashley Sutton rear wheel drive experience through the wonderful Formula V Championship, and he at the moment is all over the back of Napolitano, having a really good scrap for 5th place. Top 4 still as they were. Through goes the rest of the field. There is David Abbott there in the silver grey car at the back of the field, trying to make a bit of progress after his excursion off, I think you've got to say, at the expense of somebody else. So through they all go, and 82 Matt Foley hanging on, Lee Napolitano and Ashley Sutton still very much engaged in battle. Now I suppose the point here, and there's Jason Cooper coming through as well. Jason Cooper in 35, back up to the sharp end. That just goes to show that if you've got the equipment and the skill, you can come through. Rex Nye goes into pit lane, so Rex Nye has had a problem. He pulls off into pit lane. But Ashley Sutton and Napolitano still very much hard at this battle. And was there a problem there? It looks like dropping back down the order is Matt Foley. So Matt Foley, I think, has dropped away, because it looks like Ash Sutton and Lee Napolitano have got through. So Ashley Sutton up into 4th place. So Grady leads. There is David Grady from Harry Cockle in 2nd place. Ed Cockle goes through. It's Mike Bushell still in 4th place, beg your pardon. 5th position is now Ashley Sutton from Lee Napolitano, then Jason Cooper, Matt Foley. There is James Byrne in car number 19. Following him in 33 is Matt Parr. Matt Parr, another single-seater graduate who we'd probably expect to be perhaps a little bit further up. So a little bit below par at the moment in this one. Matt, I do apologise for that. But there is Jason Cooper in 35 with quite a bit of experience of the Fiesta Championship, running very well indeed after effectively being stone last in race number 1. Worked his way up through into 16th position, and from 16th he's now up into the top 10. But Ash Sutton carries on his way as we look at the 2nd place driver once again, Harry Cockle. Again lapping in the 69-second bracket, so the fastest 2 drivers here at Silverstone today, David Grady and Harry Cockle, they're 1st and 2nd as you would expect, but not really losing Ed. There's Ed Cockle in 3rd place. And Mike Bushell, very good, very quick newcomer. Great to see him running in 4th position. Ashley Sutton as well. And those of you, if you looked at the results from last year, we'll see, I'm pretty sure we're going to see different drivers taking the initiative as we visit different circuits. And this really has got, it really is a mouth-watering prospect for this season as we look at Jason Cooper down the inside of Lee Napolitano. Side by side they go. I think Lee's seen him there. Great driver awareness then from Napolitano. Jason Cooper drifts the car into the corner. That's how hard he was pushing it to get through on the inside. That could have ended in tears with 2 lesser experienced drivers, but super move there by Jason Cooper, and you've got to give respect to Lee Napolitano as well there for reading that particularly well. Cooper goes through in front of him and takes 7th position. Up ahead of him now is Ash Sutton. So we'll see whether he can close in. But David Grady, who consistently is the fastest man, last year with Jeremy Gumbly. Jeremy Gumbly, the man who won the championship last year, you may remember, who was pretty much matched for speed on occasions by David Grady, another ex-single-seater driver. And Grady, very, very happy with his weekend so far. No pressure at all. It's almost like he's keeping Harry Cockle at arm's length. And I'm sure he'll just want to blister away and build a lead as much as possible. But the lead that he's got, he could probably afford a little mistake, but we haven't seen any mistakes at all from him so far. Harry Cockle will be there ready to pounce. He's in 2nd position. His brother Ed busy trying to close him down as well. This is the view from Copse Corner. Race leader. The quartet were a lot closer together at the start of the race, but they're starting to just spread out a little bit. Through goes Mike Bushell in 4th position. Ashley Sutton in 5th. Then it's Jason Cooper running through. Matt Foley in 82. Just dropped away a little bit from his early race form. Lena Politano is in the mix as well. And then Ian Wilson, James Byrne goes through in the blue car.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natchu, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, Go Racing TV has got all of that action. Trans Am World Challenge and even some runoff material all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know. To be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
So Bowers, he's going to fend off Daly again. Daly gives notice of intent. Looks as if he might go down the inside, but it's just a little bit too far back. Nick Pope down behind them in blue and orange sweeps out as they go into Luffield. Ian Fletcher directly behind them. Not quite close enough, I don't think, to make a manoeuvre on Nick Bowers at the moment. Sorry, Nick Pope, not Nick Bowers. Nick Bowers, the green car at the front of this little trio, and Steve Upton ahead of them. And this battle, 21 Andrew Wilmot goes through. So we're looking at the scrap for around about 13th, 14th position. And some pretty healthy dicing going on, you've got to say. There is James Byrne in car number 19, who is running well, battling to try and get into the top 10. Back with Al Daly and Nick Pope, with Nick Bowers in front of them. Then Ian Fletcher. Onto Wellington Straight, and Ian Fletcher looking as if he's taking a slightly different line here in the 44 car. Let's see whether he can make a manoeuvre through. Matt Parr in 33, not too far in front of them. So Matt Parr, the white 33 machine. You can see nobody really losing too much ground from the front runners, and you do get the cars thinning out into single file, but very competitive lap times. And I think once again we're probably not going to see anybody lapped in this race, which is a testament to how very, very competitive this 23 car grid this weekend is. Fletcher in the silver car lining himself up to, is he looking at the outside line, or have we got Nick Pope on the inside looking at maybe making a pass himself? There is David Abbott still trying to close in on the field, as we saw Ian Wilson go through. Ian Wilson from James Byrne, then Andrew Wilmot in 21. You might remember Wilmot racing in Class A and B last year, the white car with the black sun rays on the side, and he's moved up to the STs 2 for this season, which has left a few cars available in classes A and B for any newcomers wanting to come in. But let's go back to now second and third position. Harry Cockle still there in second. Ed is closing in, and the race leader David Grady still piling in these fast laps as we head to about 2/3 of the way through the timed race. Here is car number 4, Mike Bushell, still in 4th position. Ashley Sutton down behind him. Then Jason Cooper. Cooper, who surely must have used up whatever grip he had on his tyres with a superb charge through the field in race 1, which he's continued in race 2, and he continues to put the pressure on Sutton. But Michael Bushell, newcomer to the championship, is the man that's coming under pressure at the moment from Ashley Sutton. Sutton's got a fair bit of circuit racing experience, and Jason Cooper looking up his inside as well. Cooper makes a very decisive move offline there, and he's going to try and take the position. Has he got the speed to deal with Mike Bushell, who comes across, grabs the line? Cooper thinks about looking down the inside. Ash Sutton is thinking racing line and taking wider line into the corner. Cooper, we know, very quick into Brooklands when we saw him take that overtaking manoeuvre earlier on, but at the moment he just cannot do anything about Mike Bushell. Seems to have the pace, so we'll see whether Cooper can get that much closer. He's closed in on him thus far. Through goes the race leader then. So David Grady leads. Then it's Harry Cockle from Ed Cockle in 3rd place. This is the scrap for 4th position, and Jason Cooper is good looking around the outside line as they come into Copse Corner. Be very keen not to trade paint here. Ash Sutton is there at the back of this trio of cars, who now looks up the inside. So Mike Bushell trying to get the inside line, and the initiative back from Jason Cooper, and he's through, and so too is Ash Sutton. So Jason Cooper moving up into 4th position, albeit briefly, now drops back into 6th position because Ash Sutton followed Bushell through. That was great race reading there from Ashley Sutton. And Jason Cooper, well, we know he can pass because we've seen a very spectacular move on Lee Napolitano earlier on. Now, down the straight they go. Cooper dives down the inside. Sutton's got it covered. He can't do anything about Bushell, who's still there in 4th place. What a terrific scrap that we've got between these 3 cars. Very, very close indeed. And Mike Bushell, a little bit earlier into Luffield Corner. Is that going to compromise his exit speed, or is he going to be able to pull away? It doesn't look like it's causing any problems for him at the moment. Back with race leader, there it is, David Grady still pulling clear, about 3 seconds clear now of Harry Cockle in 2nd place. Ed Cockle's 3rd, but it's the 4th position scrap that we want to see. Here they come then into Maggotts Corner. Bushell still there from Sutton. Then it's Jason Cooper. Lee Napolitano's closing up as well. So Napolitano coming back into the mix, which is very good news as well. Then down behind them we've got James Byrne and Ian Wilson, who want to get involved too. But Mike Bushell, now here comes Jason Cooper again. Cooper, certainly that was just a worrying move really, wasn't it, on Ash Sutton? I don't think Ashley Sutton's going to be overly phased about that, but Cooper certainly giving him notice of intent. Look at the lines that they take through Luffield onto Woodcote, and Bushell is driven superbly here. Very good defensive driving from Bushell. He'll maybe be a tad disappointed not to have made it up onto the podium so far. We look at the 2nd and 3rd place cars ahead of him. I don't think he's going to get a podium in this one, but equally good attacking driving from Ashley Sutton in car number 16, man from Bishop Stortford, and down behind him Jason Cooper as well, the Chippenham driver. This is really setting us up for some great racing over the course of the season. Lee Napolitano, the Lingfield youngster, closing in too. Car number 24, front runner in go-karts, and karting expert, really put all that wealth of racing experience he had into car racing this year. But here comes Cooper again. Now Cooper this time taking an outside line. Sutton comes across as well. Cooper's going to treat it like selling him a dummy and look down the inside. Bushell is going to be passed by Sutton, who just squeezed his car through. They trade a little bit of paint and Bushell's lost a position. Mike Bushell down into 5th, and Ashley Sutton read that very well indeed. Probably you have a little bit more room to play with on a saloon car, because if you'd have done that in a single-seater, that would end in tears. But clearly Ashley Sutton getting used to saloon car racing and enjoying the fact that you can have a little bit of rubbing. So Ashley Sutton up into 4th. Bushell, though, will want that position back. He will also want to defend 5th position from Jason Cooper, who we know has got the aggression and the speed to make the passes. So round Copse Corner they go once again. Cooper going a little bit wide. Lena Politano is down behind them. So it's Grady leading. Here comes David Grady from Harry Cockle. Then Ed Cockle, who seems to be closing in. So whether that's Ed getting to grips with the ST or circuit, or indeed both, it seems to be closing in on his brother. That's the top 3 through. Ashley Sutton is 4th. Mike Bushell is 5th, followed by Jason Cooper. Matt Foley is coming up to play as well in the blue car, but Jason Cooper outside line here with Mike Bushell. Side by side they go. Cooper backs out of it. Is he going to look through on the inside? He's going to try and go around the outside of Luffield, but contact with Lena Politano! And off goes Jason Cooper, gets his foot in, rejoins. Great recovery, you've got to say, from Jason Cooper, who's dropped now down behind Matt Foley and Lee Napolitano. But onto the last lap here, just 1.6 miles to go around the national circuit at Silverstone for David Grady, who looks like he's going to make it pole position. 2 wins, 2 fastest laps to make it a perfect starting weekend to the campaign for him. Grady it is that goes around Beckett's for the last time, down the Wellington Straight, still leading from Harry Cockle, with Ed Cockle getting ever closer. He's only 10ths behind his brother now, so Ed Cockle has, well, certainly Harry Cockle's got bragging rights for the 2 brothers from race 1. That may not be how it finishes in race 2. They certainly won't want to take each other off, but no doubt that family battle will continue at Snetterton in 2 weeks' time. But David Grady will also be looking to continue his form as he comes out of Woodcote for the last time, and will make it 2 out of 2. Oh, Grady is going to be the winner. The Cockle brothers still fighting it out for 2nd position, and it's Harry Cockle that just does it. But a great last few laps from Ed Cockle to close in. He takes 3rd position. Ashley Sutton's going to come across the line there in the background, the red car, for a well-earned 4th. Confirmation of the result, with Grady winning from Harry Cockle and Ed Cockle 3rd, Ashley Sutton 4th from Mike Bushell, Matt Foley 6th, then it was Jason Cooper and Lee Napolitano, Ian Wilson 9th from James Byrne, Andrew Wilmot 11th and Matthew Parr in 12th. Ian Fletcher was next from Terence Upton, then Nick Bowers, Chris Tomazis and Nick Pope. Al Daly in 18th position, 19th place going to the recovering David Abbott.
David, 2 races, 2 wins. That's a dream start to the season.
Absolutely, yes. To get 2 wins out of 2 in such a competitive field is a great result for myself and for the team. They've done such a good job preparing the car. Much like the first race, I was able to make a good start, and that helped me out going into the opening laps. And from there, I just set about setting every lap like a qualifying lap, and that helped me to just slightly pull away from Harry. And from that stage, it was just a case of getting into the groove and not making any mistakes and looking after the car.
Now, it looked like you were slowing towards the end. Was that something on purpose, just to keep the car okay, or were your tyres going? What was the problem there?
I think it was a combination of looking after the car, and the tyres weren't reaching their sort of maximum sort of point. So it was just a combination of those things.
Okay, well, good. We'll look forward to seeing you in Snetterton in a couple of weeks' time, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
A dominant performance by David Grady in both of the opening rounds of Class C in the competition car insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.